Hello, everyone. Good day. And today is April 24th, 2023. And this is Mastermind number 31. 31, if I can still remember how to count. Yeah, I think it's 31. Mastermind number 31. Yes, it's a different day. We changed the meeting times to Monday. So that's a notable change. Normally, we had them on Fridays. We made that change just because kind of energy it is that the mastermind brings out and brings out the best in us. Figured that maybe it would be good to move it to the beginning of the week instead of the end of the week. I mean, it only took us 30 sessions, right? um, and it seems like that time, I mean, it works good for most people. So anyway, yes, we are now on Mastermind number 31 again. A lot of this is based on the concepts of the book Think and Grow Rich, which is one of the #1 success books that is out there by Napoleon Hill. You ask a lot of wealthy, successful people, and they'll attribute a lot of their success to this book or it being even a part of it. So we have been going through this book for the past 30 sessions. It's a book that is studied. Bob Proctor, who's one of the #1 personal development masters out there, who recently passed, unfortunately, studied this book actually until the last day that he took his last breath. Rest in peace, Bob Proctor. And so why are we meeting? There's a part in the introduction of this book where it says, you who read this book will get the most out of it by putting into practice the mastermind principle described in the book. Over the past 2-3 years, I've applied this book to my life and I've seen amazing results. That's my personal testimonial from the book. This you can do as others are doing so successfully by forming a study club consisting of any desired number of people who are friendly and harmonious. The club should have a meeting at regular periods as often as once each week. The procedure should consist of reading one chapter of the book at each meeting, after which the contents of the chapter should be freely discussed by all members. Each member should make notes, putting down all ideas of his own inspired by the discussion. Each member should carefully read and analyze each chapter several days prior to its open reading and joint discussion in the club. Reading at the club should be done by someone who reads well and understands how to put color and feeling in the lines. By following this plan, every reader will get from its pages not only the sum total of the best knowledge organized from the experiences of hundreds of successful men, but more important by far, he will tap new sources of knowledge in his own mind, as well as acquire knowledge of principles of priceless value from every other person present. With that being said, let's jump right into it. So on the agenda here for today, actually quite similar to the one we had last time. I didn't change it too much just because, changing the time, short space of time. We met like 2-3 days ago. So number one, we'll have our meet and greet. Number two, accountability for one goal of the year that we had and one thing we did towards achieving that goal for the past 3 days. We'll go through Think and Grow Rich and the chapter 30, which is on the brain. Then we'll have our Crypto Mastermind report, connecting in person with a community and events near you, meeting time change, update on different investment opportunities and presentation of new investment opportunities. With that being said, let's jump right into it. Zaron, welcome. I hope you are well. So I'll go ahead and start. One goal so we're starting out with accountability. One goal for the year it is that I had was in terms of improving family relationships. And one of the things I did was that I spoke a lot more with one of my cousins regarding a course it is that she was doing and helped her in terms of understanding some things a little better with regards to the course. So spent a fair bit of time doing that this past weekend. And so she understands the course a little better. I understand what it is that she's doing and she feels a lot more supported. And so that's one thing that I did. And whoever would like to go next, feel free.
Hey guys, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, there we go. It works now. Yeah, it was a great weekend for me. There was a lot that happened, and one of my goals to be a better father was in play. So got to take the son to play in a tournament, and he ended up winning 2 out of his 4 games. So I was pretty proud of him there. And
Awesome.
it teaches him also about business, math, and reading. So there was many benefits of where we went.
Ah, awesome. 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 Well, congratulations on that. Looking forward to you continuously working on that. And very happy for the success of your son. That's JC. Zeron or Alejandro up next.
Yeah, so one of my goals is to increase my income, which ironically, my income's about to drop. But one of the short-term goals that I had for the year was to teach at least once this year. And I just completed my first semester teaching for the year. I'm not planning to teach again this year, but I did complete that goal, so I can scratch that one off the list.
Awesome. So to teach at least once and you completed a semester, you said a while ago?
Yep, I just completed last week. I entered in final grades for the course, and that's it for the year.
Awesome. 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 Congratulations. Yeah, your life is going through the transitional period right now. Zeron, you're up next.
Um, one of the goals I had for this year was to be selfish with my time and choose me first, like enjoying my time and don't second guess any opportunity I have to like do things on my own. And what I've did over the past couple of days is took a trip to Dallas. So I took some time off from work and not second guessing it, and had a trip to Dallas where I enjoyed my weekend and stuff. So grateful for that.
Awesome. So you were in Dallas, Texas. Awesome. Congratulations on that. Yeah, being selfish with our time is something that key for everybody and not something that we don't do all the time. So congratulations on that. Great to see the progress everyone's been making and progress in different areas, for some family, for some being selfish, for some finances. And so that's exactly the whole purpose of the mastermind, in becoming a better version of ourselves and improving our lives in different areas. And so with that being said, we'll move on to the next segment, which is Think and Grow Rich, chapter 13 on the brain. We're almost at the end of this book. And so the chapter before we did was on the subconscious mind. By this point, everybody should have been seeing a kind of flow and how each chapter connects with each other. And so chapter 13, the brain, a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. This is the 12th step toward riches. Would somebody like to start the reading, or would you want me to start? No response, I'll just go ahead.
I can do the first reading.
Awesome. You're up, Alejandro. Thank you.
Okay, so a broadcasting and a receiving station for thought, the 12th step towards riches. More than 20 years ago, the author, working in conjunction with the late Dr. Alexander Graham Bell and Dr. Elmer R. Gates, observed that every human brain is both a broadcasting and a receiving station for the vibration of thought. Though the medium of ether, in a fashion similar to that employed by the radio broadcasting principle, every human brain is capable of picking up vibrations of thought which are being released by other brains. In connection with the statement in the preceding paragraph, compare and consider the description of the creative imagination as outlined in the chapter on imagination. The creative imagination is the receiving set of the brain, which receives thoughts released by the brains of others. It is the agency of communication between one's conscious or reasoning mind and the four sources from which one may receive thought stimuli. When stimulated or stepped up to a high rate of vibration, the mind becomes more receptive to the vibration of thought, which reaches it through the ether from outside sources. This stepping up process takes place through the positive emotions or the negative emotions. Through the emotions, the vibrations of thought may be increased. Vibrations of an exceedingly high rate are the only vibrations picked up and carried by the ether from one brain to the other. Thought is energy traveling at an exceedingly high rate of vibration. Thought, which has been modified or stepped up by any of the major emotions, vibrates at a much higher rate than ordinary thought. And it is this type of thought which passes from one brain to, can you scroll a little bit? Passes from one brain to another through the broadcasting machinery of the human brain. The emotion of sex stands at the head of the list of human emotions as far as intensity and driving force are concerned. The brain, which has been stimulated by the emotions of sex, vibrates at a much more rapid rate than it does when the emotion is quiescent or absent. The result of sex transmutation is the increase of the heart rate of vibration, of the rate of vibration of thoughts to such a pitch that the creative imagination becomes highly receptive to ideas, which it picks up from the ether. On the other hand, when the brain is vibrating at a rapid rate, it not only attracts thoughts and ideas released by other brains through the medium of the ether, but it gives to one's own thoughts that feeling, which is essential before those thoughts will be picked up and acted upon by one's subconscious mind. Thus, you will see that the broadcasting principle is the factor through which you mix feeling or emotion with your thoughts and pass them on to your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the sending station of the brain through which vibration of thought are broadcast. The creative imagination is the receiving set through which the vibrations of thought are picked up from the ether. Along with the important factors of the subconscious mind and the faculty of the creative imagination, which constitute the sending and receiving sets of your mental broadcasting machinery, consider now the principle of autosuggestion, which is the medium by which you may put into operation your broadcasting station. Through the instructions described in the chapter on autosuggestion, you were definitely informed of the method by which desire may be transmuted into monetary equivalent. Operation of your mental broadcasting station is a comparatively simple procedure. You have but three principles to bear in mind and to apply when you wish to use your broadcasting station: the subconscious mind, creative imagination, and auto-suggestion. The stimuli through which you put these three principles into action have been described. Sorry, this thing keeps acting up. Have been described. The procedure begins with desire. The greatest.
All
Yeah.
right. We can stop there for now. Thank you, Alejandro.
No problem.
All right. So we're learning here about the brain and how exactly is this a broadcasting and receiving station. So what are we understanding so far from what it is that we've read here? Thoughts?
It's a lot to process, especially when you're reading it. It's kind of like, I guess if I had to summarize, we we work our brains, I guess our consciousness or whatever function similarly to antenna, right? And antennas can send or receive signals. And he's describing the creative imagination as the receiving set and the subconscious as the, I guess, the sending set. And so the way that you control your subconscious is through autosuggestion. So if you want to put something out into the universe, you have to continuously, I guess, autosuggest. And the creative imagination is what receives, I guess, a signal of the universe. And he's basically saying that the more you put in motion behind your subconscious and your autosuggestion, the more powerful the signal will be. So you amplify the signal and it becomes more powerful. That's what I'm getting out of it. I don't know if that's accurate or how you guys interpret it.
I can attest to that.
All right.
Yeah, your brain is like a transmitter, and the knowings can come to you in a higher vibration. And it was interesting this weekend. I was studying the brain, and then I had a session yesterday where 6 pages of information came to me, where I kept writing, it was consciousness writing, it was called. And I was, the hand was cramping up, but I just kept going. It was about an hour of data, but just from being in a certain state, I was able to receive the information. It was important to investigate it too. So yeah, I think in different vibrations, you can receive different information, and you can put your emotions and intentions into it. And there definitely can be a result that comes through it from experience. I could say that.
JC, I had a very similar experience to you a couple times actually. One time was when I was thinking about who I wanted to become. And so I just got this like urge to write down, and this came to me in the shower, kind of like how we talked about previously. So I was just like, who do I want to be? Like, what do I value? Who do I want to become? And how does that person that I become reflect my values and my desires? And so I just started writing down that person that I want to be, that ideal version of myself. I didn't write for an hour straight, but I wrote for a solid 10 minutes. And that's sort of been my guiding post now, like the person that I want to become, right? So it's sort of like, this is who I want to become. And it's the way I see it is, each of us maybe want to acquire a lot of wealth, right? Like my first goal is to acquire $20 million net worth, but it's not so much because I want to have $20 million like worth of stuff. It's more like I want to be the person that can acquire $20 million worth of stuff, right? So if I become that person, it doesn't matter my circumstance, right? If I'm living in the United States and things go to hell, I could go somewhere else and still be that person and still acquire those things. So that was the first experience that I had. And then the second one was when I was working out in the gym, and that higher level of energy came to me, and I thought about what businesses I wanted to create. And so I started just recording my thoughts on my phone. And so I'm wondering if I guess, have you been able to put any of that stuff in motion? Like, or have any of you guys been able to put any of that in motion? I feel like I'm still very much in the, like I've received, but I don't know if I've put out yet. I don't know if that makes sense.
So what you're saying, you're wondering if in terms of where you've received who you've wanted to become, if you've put out any of it out there in terms of physically manifesting it.
Yeah, I guess I kind of have in some ways because I wrote it down, right? And once you write it down,
firstly, is that what you're asking?
yes, and I'm asking more, has that been your experiences as well? And like, have you guys started doing that as well? And like, what's been your experience with that?
All right. So
Yeah.
I can attest to it. I'll just jump in here, JC. I can attest to it. Especially especially over the past 2-3 years. It's been huge. That's when it is that I've really applied this book heavily onto my life, where it's every day there's something I'm doing with regards to this book. Going back to the chapter, and you guys were right in saying, it's a little bit, it's much to unpack, especially when you were reading there, Alejandro. But in simple terms, one of the big things, if you realize there's something coming in, creative imagination, where it's the receiving set. When I first read this, I was saying, what do you mean the creative imagination is the receiving set? Like, am I not creating these things in my mind? But then I remember that creative imagination is actually the synthetic imagination, and that being connected with the infinite intelligence. And so whatever my mind is receiving, it's coming from the creative imagination, but it's actually not just coming from my mind. It's a connection between my mind and infinite intelligence. And so you are receiving. So even all these ideas that we may come up with, we are receiving that from the infinite intelligence being passed on to us via the ether. And so it was key for me in terms of understanding that. And then when you go on to when simulated are stepped up to a high rate of vibration, and there are different ways in terms of stepping this up. One of the things I practice, and it connects to what you were talking about, Alejandro, is that whenever it is that the most powerful way in terms of going ahead and stimulating the mind is the emotion of sex. And I've been practicing over the past 2, 3 years this. And one of the things I implemented was that each day I would write down who did I want to become. And so what I would do is that I would get I didn't write. What I did instead was that I came up with a Google document, which is now in a PowerPoint, so I can, lay back and watch it. Um, and I added one thing in terms of who did I want to become. Each day I just added one thing, every day, just one thing. Today I want to be a poet. I want to be a great father. I want to be a great son. I will be this. I will be that. I will be a great family member. I will be somebody who does skydiving. And what I found over time was that after combining the teachings of each part of this book, somehow each of these things started to come through because I kept on, it became a part of my subconscious mind because I was seeing it every single day. And somehow, so it's a thing of where you conceive. Les Brown talks about this. You conceive what you want, believe, and have the faith that you can achieve it, and you achieve it. But you won't be able to say, okay, today I'm going to definitely, do this. It's kind of a thing where when it is that, so my experience from it, I've created that kind of idea in terms of who I wanted to become, who I will be. And so what I found was that connecting with infinite intelligence, somehow it has just been happening, right? And that's coming through me having the faith, knowing that it's going to happen, and then following the rest of the steps in this book, subconscious mind, where it's now, I don't, whenever my mind is sitting idle, that's exactly what my mind is on. I'm looking at this thing in terms of who do I want to become. And then somehow over the period of the last 2 years, so for example, travel, one of the things I wanted to do was travel. So I said I would travel to many countries in the world. I didn't know how it was going to happen. But 2 years later, I found that I traveled to 5 more countries. I want to have better family relationships. And so when I was sitting down, my subconscious mind was programmed to say, let me check in on one of my family members. And so you apply it in each different area, and then suddenly you see things just start happening and you form the person you want to become because the subconscious mind is on it there so much. And if your subconscious mind is on it there so much, you'd have seen where right here, the book connects it there with the creative imagination and the steps in terms of stimulating the brain. So anyway, but for want of time, I hope that helped in terms of sharing the experience from what I had.
Yeah, it does. It's I guess what you're saying is it's little steps day by day, and you by repeatedly I guess reading it or writing it or seeing it, it becomes part of your subconscious. If you repeat it daily, is that what you're saying, Hanif?
Yes, that is a part of what I'm saying. What I'm also saying is when you did this in terms of who you wanted to become, this is where you were. You're at what do you want most in terms of desire, in terms of who you wanted to become. You wanted to become somebody with $20 million. You are still here. The steps in terms of moving from there to achievement are in this book. The desire, the faith. Do you actually have the faith you can get there? Is your desire great enough to get there? Are you practicing auto-suggestion in terms of getting there? So putting it in terms of steps, you're still at step one. You will only get to achievement when it is that you fully master, well, not fully master, but when you actually start practicing the teachings that are there. I'm not saying, the book is the only way of achieving it, but kind of, yeah. Well, not the only way, but it provides and outlines the steps in terms of getting there. That's why it starts with what do you want most. When you wrote down who do I want to become, that's what you were doing, saying who you want most. What do you want most? So just take the next steps and then you'll see where it is that these things will just magically happen somehow, some way. I hope that well, yeah. I mean, that's from the experience. So with that being said, and it comes in terms of different practices, and you'll find different teachings, right? If you listen to The Secret, or you read The Secret, you'll find similar things in terms of attracting. If you go ahead and you look at Science of Getting Rich, you will also talk about that your idle time is going to be best spent focusing on your desires. So all that time, what do you do during the day? Sleep, eat, talk to your family. What else are you doing? Efforts to make money so you can, get by. What else are you doing with your time? If you spend like hours daily focusing on this stuff, then you'll definitely have it happening. So I'll just share just before we move on one thing, so you can see what exactly I mean by this, and maybe this may inspire somebody else um, to go ahead and do their own thing in terms of what that may look like. So I'm going to share my screen. So this is what I do, Alejandro. This is something I do every night before going to sleep. I'll do abdominals while it is that I have my computer open. And this is one of the things in terms of this is adventures I'll go on. So this is on one of the things. Present if you start from the beginning. So I'll put this up on my computer if it decides to load. And then what I'll do, I'll adjust the settings, autoplay, and I'll play it. And while I'm doing the abdominals, I'm feeling good. I'm focusing on how exactly I feel. I'm mixing what I'm seeing with emotion. Maybe not so intense with the shark, but but yes, sir, and you don't know, so we have to watch them game. So as I'm looking at this, I'm feeling great. I'm looking at what exactly my life is like when I'm doing this, and I'm watching these international games. Watch a lot of Netflix, right? When I'm doing all of these things, while I'm doing these abdominals, right before going to bed. And so right before going to bed is a key time, because when I dream, I'm impacting my subconscious. Well, I'm seeing there what's happening in my subconscious mind. And so I'm doing three different things there at once, right? So this is one of the things that I did. I have a different one in terms of who do I want to become, but this one was readily available. So that's an example in terms of, this has been built for the past like 2-3 years. Every day I added something different. So figured out share that with you guys. Let me pause it now. There we go.
That's great. You need the slides there. Visualization.
Yeah, the first time I did it, I had it on a Word document, and I was saying, why don't I just put these in slides so I can, lay back and just watch it. So if you want to do the same thing, sure, do it. If you want help doing it, let me know. That's exactly why it is that we're here. A lot of those things, skydiving, I ended up doing in Mexico. No, I knew I was going to Mexico probably like a week or so before. And yeah, we will jump on to the next thing here. The brain. So we'll finish in like less than 5 minutes. But again, as it is that we go through here, right? You want to be studying the contents of this and actually apply it. This is my fourth, fifth time we're going through this book. While I read it with you guys, I also read it personally by myself daily, just because it takes that effort to actually fully grasp what the book is saying. It's a book that you have to study. So now the greatest forces are intangible. The Depression brought the world to the very borderline of understanding of the forces which are intangible and unseen. For the ages which have passed, man has depended too much upon his physical senses and has limited his knowledge to physical things which he could see, touch, weigh, and measure. We're now entering the most marvelous of all ages, an age which will teach us something of the intangible forces of the world about us. Perhaps we shall learn as we pass through this age that the other self is more powerful than the physical self we see when we look into the mirror. Sometimes men speak lightly of the intangibles, the things which they cannot perceive through any of their five senses. And when we hear them, it should remind us that all of us are controlled by forces which are unseen and intangible. The whole of mankind has not the power to cope with, nor to control the intangible force wrapped up in the rolling waves of the oceans. Man has not the capacity to understand the intangible force of gravity, which keeps this little earth suspended in midair and keeps man from falling from it, much less the power to control that force. Man is entirely subservient to the intangible force which comes with a thunderstorm. And he's just as helpless in the presence of the intangible force of electricity. Nay, he does not even know what electricity is, where it comes from, or what is its purpose. Nor is this by any means the end of man's ignorance in connection with things unseen and intangible. He does not understand the intangible force and intelligence wrapped up in the soil of the earth, the force which provides him with every morsel of food he eats, every article of clothing he wears, every dollar he carries in his pockets. And then we have a dramatic story of the brain. And let me see if we can go through here. Actually, let's stop here for today. This is quite a bit here. The greatest forces are intangible. What are we getting here from this chapter? Like well, this section, what exactly is it really saying to us here, this intangible force?
There's so much to understand. Knowledge is important.
A lot to understand. Knowledge is important. Excellent.
I take it also as like your attitude, your behavior, right? It's fleeting, it's ephemeral. You do something and then it's the behavior is done. It's got a cycle. But with enough practice of doing something over a long enough period of time, it yields results that are tangible. But it's everything that comes before that results in the tangible, not the actual. It's not like you're holding a stick and that stick all of a sudden gives you power over the world. It's the things that you do. It's the motion, the attitude, the predisposition to do things. That's what I'm taking from it.
Here we go. Here we go. And you're perfectly right in saying with what JC said, that getting the knowledge, and there's a lot there to get. It might sound simple, but it's actually so much. And what you said there, Alejandro, in terms of where we're looking at, everything that's actually tangible, every physical thing that exists is as a result of something that is actually, well, what was intangible. Your desires, what you want most, as it is that the book references, who do you want to become? It all starts intangible. It starts up here in the mind, connecting with infinite intelligence, and we are seeking to have it physically in this realm, whatever it is that we want. But the funny thing is, we focus so much on actually getting it in this physical part that we forget how important this intangible part is, right? And so that's what I was talking about. We've depended too much upon his physical senses. So for example, I mean, obviously, you can't just imagine things into reality. We haven't gotten that far. Well, you can, but just our idea of things is instant. We imagine it, it's there right now. If we understand how the intangibles work, we can imagine it, it will appear. But here's the thing, we just don't know when, because the universe has to say, it's the timing for this now. We just need to keep on feeling good and know that we are going to receive it, right? Electricity, gravity, we can only understand what it is. We can't see it. I mean, if you shock yourself something, you can probably see it. But it's crazy that something that we cannot see or touch is so powerful. It's kind of crazy, actually. It really is kind of crazy, honestly. Honestly, sometimes I'm reading this book and I'm saying, what the hell is this thing saying? Like, it's so simple, but at the same time, so impactful, Um, I don't know, Zaran or Anna wanted to share anything, as this is the last topic we're on now.
I agree with everything being said, like especially the part that we focus so much on the tangible items that's in front of us, not fully understanding that we actually create those things in our head first before trying to achieve them. So I do agree with the statement that the most powerful forces are intangible. Like your mindset is probably the most powerful thing about you as an individual. Is how they say if you want to change your life, you change your mind. So like definitely intangible items in terms of mindset, attitude, your character as an individual, that makes you who you are as a person and how successful you can be.
There we
I
go.
was gonna mention something too with in connecting with infinite intelligence. There's a lot of messages you can get that way, and things can even feel real, especially in the astral plane if you've ever looked into that. Like even for example, you can have astral sex and it feels just like physical sex.
That's a very interesting thing. But
Never.
I to go off what JC said, like for me, like I could like imagine things in my mind and I can literally feel the same emotions if this thing was actually happening to me in person. Like when I imagine things, I try to imagine it with emotions and thoughts. So it's like I'm actually physical there, being in the moment, and I can feel chills over my body. I can feel my heart racing or what out the nervousness in terms of like if I'm trying to say I have a penalty. I can imagine taking a penalty kick in terms of soccer in a shootout in a final, and I can feel the exact emotions when I'm sitting down and I'm not even playing a game.
That's great, Xeron, because that is, I mean, it's going a bit off, but remote viewing is similar to that. And when I do readings as well, like I can feel body sensations and I pay attention to my surroundings, and visualization is important. And I'm very visual in my abilities when I do the readings. So it's all like a movie playing for me. And like,
Yes.
even if you get shot in a dream, you can feel that. It feels actually legitimate. When you wake up, your heart's pounding, depending on what time, depending on when you wake up from the dream. Usually it's when you get ran over or shot or something,
Yeah.
if it's that type of dream.
Yeah, my dreams been scaring me lately, so I don't really even like talking about my dreams right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's something that you and JC could probably have a conversation about with him, knowing a lot about that stuff. So just wrapping up this segment here, everybody. Very intriguing stuff as it is that we continue to go over Think and Grow Rich, its principles and more. And so with that being said, what I will say is that let's continue doing what we want in terms of remembering what we want most, and that kind of leads us back to why we go over the contents of this book and how it impacts us and more. So with that being said, we'll conclude for there now. We will start on page. What page number is this? Oh, I can't count. What is it's page. So next week we'll start. Why can't I? Oh, that's why. We'll start on page 203, the dramatic story of the brain. So somebody wants to take responsibility just preparing the summary. And if somebody else wanted to host next week, sure, go ahead. So who would like to do that there for us next week?
I'll host next week.
Zaran will
I'll
host
give the
next.
summary, Hanif.
All right, JC will prepare the summary. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right, so there we go. That's that end of this section. And join us again next week, Monday. So next week, Monday, that's going to be what? May 1, I think? Whichever
New
way.
month for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 7, 4, 11, 30 days in April. Okay, so new month next week. And with that being said, that ends section 1, this section here for today. So that's that, and we will move on now to the next section in terms of the crypto profit report. I mean, well, we kind of had this the last time, but with regards to the course it is that we're doing right now, JC, I think you finished week 2, you were saying?
So I had the intention to get that lecture done of week 1. I ended up passing out. I had a session last night that, like I said, 6 pages of information that came through, so that really tired me out. But I did get the quizzes done in section 1. The lectures, basically certain sections of the reading are cut out, but you know, it's more of the reading that will that's time consuming. But like I said, I'm diving deep, so I'm pretty serious about it, but I'll definitely catch up.
Nice. There we go. All right. And again, everybody, that is the cryptocurrency educational course through the University of Nicosia. And this is on decentralized finance. So it started April 3. I think maybe people can still register. I'm also going through this course, although I am behind. I will be catching up this week. So there's that with regards to the course. For anybody who'd like to do the course, you can still register. Why DeFi, learn how blockchain-based decentralization is disrupting financial services. There was an article I was reading recently about how, which country was it? UAE was exploring decentralized finance in terms of some part of its economy. So that's a whole other thing, as it's the future. DeFi is the future. So, you know, wealthy people find out where the world is going and they get there first. Next, in terms of from a crypto standpoint, I mean, like, you can always look at the charts, always that's going on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, seeing the latest that is going on. Over the past 7 days, we've seen a 7% decline in the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum 11%. So really, since the last time we met and now, not too much has changed. Although, what do you call it? Although we can see where it seems that markets are still down a little bit more. And so over the past, I think, week or so, another coin, Radix, was performing pretty well. Let's look at the chart. But we have a meeting, I think, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, whenever it is in my calendar. Yeah, so we'll
Don't
go over
forget Pepe.
Pepe. Oh, the guy who you saw the guy who made all this money through Pepe. Pepe, millionaire crypto. $27 into 1 million in days with Pepe. Pepe's crypto has $150 million growth. Was he actually able to redeem it in terms of from a liquidity standpoint, JC?
Sorry, say that again about the liquidity.
So I know the value is more than $1 million, but was he actually able to sell?
So when I checked the volume on that coin, it was at 91 million for 24 hours. So I think eventually he did get his position out.
Wow. Well, somebody is a lot more wealthy today from this person who bought Pepe. And it's a meme coin, people. It's a meme coin. But here's what. That's the thing about crypto. You could actually get rich quick. I mean, I'm not promoting that for anybody to, try to get rich quick, but it actually is possible here in crypto. Which one was
it? Happened with Shiba and Doge as well. You know, people got in early.
I think it's this one, right? Yeah, I think. Let me see the contract. I haven't looked at the contract address, which one it was. Yeah, this one. So we look at the YTD, we'll probably be able to see it. So looking at the year to date, we're looking at a phenomenal increase. I don't even know how to say that, whatever number this is, and seeing where it is that we are now. So somebody is a very wealthy person, and fun story in terms of how that's possible there with crypto, and now we're in a down market. This stuff is possible, especially that it happened in a crypto bear market was even more phenomenal. Because I mean, in a bull market, it's kind of easier to happen, but for that to happen in a down market, that's crazy, 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 crazy. So with that being said, everybody, well, we'll stop there for now. We'll meet again tomorrow for the crypto profit plan at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And that's that for there. Next thing is, what's next on the agenda? Well, is there anything, well, with regards to investments, real estate, I'll probably have somebody present a deal next week, or I myself will present a deal. For those who are serious about getting into real estate, then, it's kind of great timing. Why? Because there's probably a lot of inventory that's about to come on the market. Just because in the last year, things have been a lot more inflated. And I myself don't love real estate, but here's what. I love the passive income that it generates, and I love the steady returns and what you call it, appreciation that properties have each year. So and real estate is it's a steady vehicle in terms of really building wealth long term, because property prices go up in value and people always want places to live. So if you guys wanted to get serious about that, then let me know. Next is from another investing standpoint, there are those private equity deals that were presented from JT Wealth Map. Right here, the deals that are in Florida. And so I know all of us here want passive income, right? And so the opportunities are there. It's a matter of, see, opportunity favors a prepared mind. I'll always have the deals that are available. It's a matter of, can we manage? I can easily get other persons here to come on and pitch different deals and more. You do your own due diligence in terms of if it's the right deal for you or not. And what you may lack in income, you may not lack in time. So how many people started out is that they started out just doing the dirty work, the sweat equity part of things, because there are always investors that are out there wanting to make money and not do a lot, right? There are people there out there with their established careers, doctors, lawyers, and all sorts of engineers, as those the more traditional, high-paying jobs, programmers and more, who they make money one way, right? But here's what, sometimes they like to go on vacation or do this or that, and they also want to build passive income, or they want to change in career. And so that's an opportunity where people can come in terms of saying, tell you what, you just put your money here and it will make money for you. But you need to be a master of your craft. Is it going to be private equity, right? Is it crypto? Why should that person trust you? Why should they trust you in terms of having a good relationship with you as an investor, right? What have your results firstly been like? You probably want to have results. So you don't need to have results before you go to people, right? But a lot of times it helps, right? You need to be in control of your own finances before. Are you budgeting yourself, right? What's your success in terms of investing been like? Be it with real estate, be it with private equity, be it with crypto, right? It all starts from us in terms of doing introspection in terms of moving forward. So with that being said, I think we can pause there for now and we'll jump into the other part, which is not recorded. So with that being said, unless any questions anybody wanted to ask me before I stop the recording?
No, I just wanted to say I got to head out in 5 minutes.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so with that being said, and lastly, reminder with the Futurist Conference coming up in Toronto in August. And so buy one, get one free sale has been extended by a couple of days. So with that being said, see you again next week, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye and walk good.